Right then, welcome to 5 things that we learnt watching Arsenal against Manchester United. Number 1, no final ball. As I said in the review last night, Robin van Persie absolutely nailed it where he said the midfielders are not giving those final balls. Rashford, I had him down for 15 great runs. Martial, about the same. And he didn't receive one. Now that's something that we've been talking about for the entire season. Something that we've been saying Manchester United can't play through the lines. Especially and most notably against teams that sit back. Now Arsenal did a good thing yesterday when you have to give them credit for their tactical ability. They pressed us high. There's a certain time in our advancement up the pitch where Arsenal then collapsed into that almost part of the bus style formation. But they did a brilliant transition. The way they was able to make that transition is because Manchester United are not quick through the thirds. Our midfield is extremely laboured in possession. Matic especially. Jesse is a big culprit for it. And early in the game, it looked like they was pressing Fred. It looked like Fred was the trigger that they was going to press because he's probably the one with the ball-playing, playmaking ability. So Fred got caught out in possession very often. Now, if you look at some of the stats, we had 0 through balls from Jesse Lingard, 1 through ball from Matic when he turned on, rolled back the ears and thought he was playing FIFA. Fred, 0 through balls. Marcus only got 3 shots. Only one of those in the first half, and that was outside the box. Marshall had 0 shots. Now, people will go, oh, not good enough. Are you telling me Tony Marshall doesn't want to shoot? Are you telling me that Tony Marshall, given the opportunity, look at some of the goals he's scored in the last couple of weeks. Are you telling me that's a guy that if he gets the opportunity, isn't going to shoot? Not buying that. Dan James, 0 shots. Mason Greenwood, he had just the 1 shot. It's just not good enough that we are not supplying the forwards with these opportunities. I loved what Robin van Persie said about when he signed at United and what Rio was saying about him when he said, if you look at this guy, he's going to win us the league. Carrick, Kagawa, Rooney, Giggs. If you can't find him, you ain't going to play. So Alex Ferguson knew about the fact that you have to feed forwards. If you're not giving forwards the opportunity to score, they're not going to score. Fred did manage to have 3 shots. I'm not a fan of him shooting, to be honest. I thought he was very good. Again, probably the only bright spark in midfield. But the level of player that we should be expecting, if we'd have had 2 Freds, I think we might have had half a decent chance. Matic was terrible. His pass completion was terrible. His positioning, I'm not even going to say it was bad, it was just bizarre. There's times when Luke Shaw's going to get a lot of the blame, and probably in the next point or the one after, about his positioning. But do you know what didn't help him? Matic didn't help him. Matic offered him no cover whatsoever down that left-hand side. And nor did Marcus for a lot of the time as well. Marcus and James both stayed up quite high up the pitch. That might have been waiting for us to counter. That might have been our orders and that might have been our plan. If that's the case, the 2 number 6s have to go wide and they have to support those fullbacks. You can't allow them to get doubled up on. Now, they wasn't even getting doubled up on. At one point, Luke Shaw gets caught in no man's land. But if you watch that clip back again, this is for the opening goal, or the move of the opening goal. When Luke Shaw's in no man's land, Matic goes towards it for a couple of steps and then pulls back again to mark nobody in the middle. It's just absolutely bizarre. And there's things that he was doing all the way through the game. It might have been rustiness. I don't know what it was. Last week against Burnley, when we saw him in the starting 11, everyone went, ugh. This could go horribly wrong. Well, I think we got the performance that we anticipated at Burnley. Maybe we got away with it at Burnley because we had 95% possession and he didn't really have to do much ground coverage. Against Arsenal, we saw in the first 5 minutes, this was going to be a basketball game, completely end-to-end. And if you've not got the legs, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb and look really bad. And I think that's what Matic looked like. Midfield, plain and simple, not good enough. Number 2, continuously bad in the first half. United again shown at the start of the game why we're just not doing anything. We had 2 shots, only one of those was a big chance. The Harry Maguire header at the end of the half. It's just, we created 6 chances in the second half. We had 2 chances in the first half. The same against Watford, really. When we've gone behind, we have rallied fairly well. I mean, you can probably even throw Sheffield United game into this. We have rallied fairly well when we have gone behind. But why are we going behind? And it's not like Arsenal completely played us off the park. They scored goals from well-preventable things. If you go and watch that first goal again, there's 3 or 4 mistakes from all of the players. And then the second goal, I don't know why Dave's not catching that. That looked like that's exactly where you want it as a keeper. Hold it, claim it, go to the ground, waste a bit of time. Why he's volleyballing, passing it back into the danger zone, I don't know. I really don't know what he was doing there. Top pass combinations in the first half. Maguire to Shaw, Shaw to Maguire. Maguire to Lindelof. All right, we're just knocking it round our defence then. And Arsenal pressed us high. The problem with this is that it's not going into those midfield ball players. Even in Astana when we lost, our biggest contributor to passes was the two midfielders. Dylan Levitt with over 100 passes on his debut and in Europe. That's where you want to hold possession. Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson in his final era, and the one that we've got the most data for, has got Michael Carrick, 100 passes every single week, 115, 120 when we've absolutely dominated a game. That's what Manchester United need to do. Hold possession higher up the pitch. Hold possession where we can actually do something for it. Hold possession where we can put it through into the forwards and we can actually do something. 0 passes into the box in the first half. The ball into the box from Maguire counts as a cross. But apart from that, there were no passes into the box from United. One of the issues I've got with Luke Shaw, do you know what? Forget Luke Shaw. I'm going to come to Luke Shaw in a second. Look, we didn't match Arsenal's hunger and intensity in the first half. We looked better in the second half, probably partially because Arsenal faded away. Now, we didn't capitalise on that. We couldn't get back into the game. Look, for as bad as the mistakes are at the back that are costing us games, you can't come off the pitch without scoring a goal. Now, everyone goes forwards. Well, these forwards have scored a fucking bucket load of goals in the last month. The midfield has to supply them, unless you're asking for pure magic out of one of your forwards. Not good enough. Number 3, ironically, Luke Shaw. Spent the majority of the game, actually, getting turned inside out by Pepe. His positioning was awful. He has not progressed since we signed the guy 5 years ago. I have sympathy for the injury. He came back from the injury. He is not the same player. He looks like he doesn't give a fuck. He looks disinterested. He looks out of shape. I'm a YouTuber. I'm allowed to be out of shape. I am not a professional footballer for Manchester United that should have dietitians, fucking personal chefs and the best advice known to man coming out of my arse. Luke Shaw should not know. He should have every single benefit that his wealth, because he's a professional footballer, offers him. And that is the best of nutrition, the best of advice. Like, for what it's costing him, it's literally 1% of his weekly wage would get him the best chef in the fucking city to make every fucking meal all day for him. He could even pay one of his mates to fucking smack chips out of his hand when he's not fucking paying attention to what's going on. What's your job? I just smack fucking pizza out of Luke Shaw's hand when he's fucking not paying attention. All right, good one. There's no excuse whatsoever. Do you ever have a couple of mates that are in really toxic relationships with some bird? And you just see the same pattern over and over again. They get together, they say they're going to sort it out, they break up, they get together, they say they're going to sort it. It's fucking draining, isn't it? And you're like, I'm sick of you two. Can you just fuck her off already? Luke Shaw's got that sort of relationship with the club. I'll be better. I'll fucking get in shape. I'll sort my fucking teeth out, whatever that was about. He does that. He gets back in shape. And then it fucking all goes to shit again. That's not the mindset of someone that's going to be an elite athlete. Look at the commitment level of Cristiano Ronaldo. That's why he became Cristiano Ronaldo. But look at the commitment level of even Marcus Rashford. You've never seen or questioned whether Marcus is going out and fucking eating kebabs all night long, have you? You never thought that. Even the likes of Tyler Blackett, who ultimately never became good enough for Manchester United as a regular player after initially coming and looking decent. All you ever hear about them is that they've got extra coaching. Jimmy Garner, Angel Gomez, I know they do extra coaching down at the pits in Ardwick where we play five-a-side. All of these players are doing extra training. Have you ever heard of Luke Shaw doing extra training? Apart from that one summer when it was time for a new contract. He's not the best left-back at the club. And I wonder if he's getting games because of his fucking wage. He's probably on 20 times more than what we're paying Brandon Williams. So there's a financial reason to be like, well, hang on, we're playing this kid, but you've got him on 200 and something grand a week sitting on the bench. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know if there's a financial reason that we're trying to shop window him, because for me, on performances alone, there's no way anyone can tell me. Obviously, I want to see Brandon do well, clearly. I think Brandon offers a hell of a lot in the final third. And I think defensively, he's good. I won't say he's amazing. We joke about him being the third greatest left back the world's ever seen behind Maldini and Dennis Irwin. But he's good. He's good. He's very good going forward. What's great about Brandon Williams, one of those traits that might get him to the very next level, is his attitude. You're never going to question whether Brandon's up for a game. You're never going to question whether he's going to fucking go full in. And I do with Luke Shaw. And I don't know if that's a symptom of his injury, if that's always weighing on his mind. He has to go and see a psychologist and get over that, if that's the case. He's wasting his career. In 5 years, he's just simply not progressed at Manchester United. There's no excuse to keep playing him. No excuse. Not good enough. Number 4. Substitution's far too late. I think we all could see Manchester United needs to make a change at half-time. Now, we did come out and look better, and obviously we created a lot more chances in the second half, but as I said earlier, how much of that was down to the fact that Arsenal took their foot off the gas because they knew they wasn't going to be able to sustain that for 90 minutes? I'm going to say some part of that was down to Arsenal taking their foot off the gas. I don't know what percentage, but Manchester United needed to make a positive change. Now, I've said this all season. I empathise with Solskjaer when he looks at the bench and he goes, fuck's sake, who am I going to bring on here? That's got to be difficult. And I do empathise with him for that. There isn't a draft. There's no Berbatov sitting there, is there? Well, Van Persie and Rooney start. There's no Chicharito that you can bring on. You're looking at 18-year-old Mason Greenwood, who we know he's got all the potential in the world, but you still don't know what you're going to get out of him week in, week out. And it's not really fair for him to just be coming on, oh, come and save the game for us, our kid. And you've got Pereira, who's got awful decision-making, but every trick in the book that if he wants to play, he's a good footballer. It's an absolute nightmare scenario to find yourself in. And then you've got Juan Mata, who's never going to change a game off the bench in his life, as much as I love the guy. Those are the options that he's got to bring on. And you can say, yes, the starting 11 needed to be better, and I wasn't a fan of the starting 11. But how many options is there? You can go, okay, Brandon for Luke Shaw, sound. Is that going to change it from 2-0 defeat to a 2-0 win on its own? Probably not, if we're being real. If he doesn't play Matic and he plays Pereira. There's every chance that Pereira could have made a mistake, the same as Matic. His positioning's equally as mental at times. It's not like you've got a prime Paul Pogba sitting there and you chose to play Matic, is it? It's not like you've got Dennis Irwin or Maldini and you chose to play Luke Shaw. The options are severely limited. Oh, like you've got Dan James, okay. You're going to swap Dan James out for Brandon Williams, for Mason Greenwood. Okay. There's no absolute world-class talent that's sitting there that you go, oh my God, why is he not playing him? That just isn't happening. But I would have liked to have seen substitutions earlier. I would have liked to have seen United maybe grab the game by the scruff of the neck, or Ollie grabbed the game as a scruff of the neck by a manager. He actually used to make substitutes at half-time very regular when he was at Mulder. Very regular. Almost, his average substitution time was 55 minutes. Most of that was because his first substitution was at 45 minutes. Not good enough. Number 5, defending set pieces. Arsenal's second came from a set piece. De Gea's just whatever he's done. Should he be catching that? Yeah. Possibly a mix-up between him and Lindelof. It seems almost unfair on Lindelof that he seems to be the one that seems to be in the way of these things and causing these errors. I think it's probably a coincidence thing. But could he be more alert? He probably could. At what point do we maybe start talking about, does De Gea need a rest? Does De Gea need to be going worked on in training to improve some of these elements of his game? Because now it's happening time and time again where he is making forced errors. Now, what happens when you see players having forced errors on them like that on a regular basis is teams cotton onto that, scouts cotton onto that, analysts cotton onto that, and they say, this is a way that you can get at United. And then you see that rolled on completely. It's like when someone comes out with a crazy new formation, they absolutely wipe the floor with people for about 9 months, and then a couple of teams start beating them, and then everyone just copies what they've just done. United are probably going to enter a thing where people know with set pieces, you can actually get at United. So I'm worried. I don't think dropping him is the right thing, but I think we probably need to start having conversations about what do we do with him. I think he's earned the right to maybe not get dropped, but there has to be a conversation. Ultimately, not good enough. Ultimately, and aside from this isn't even a set piece, De Gea playing it out and just passing it to Pepe. I don't even know where you start with that. We're conceding goals because of completely preventable reasons. The set-piece thing has happened now for weeks, and it's the reason that we are where we are in the table. We've missed opportunities. Tottenham, Chelsea, all the teams around us dropped points this weekend, and we was like, that looks like a fun party. Let's fucking get involved in that. It's fucking depressing at the moment. If United do not back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the transfer window, we are fucked, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is not going to improve. And I don't give a fuck who you bring in. We had Jose Mourinho. CV-wise, the greatest manager that's out there. He couldn't do it. It's time to have a complete reset. I don't know if Solskjaer is the man. I know that changing a man every fucking 12 months makes no difference whatsoever. You have to recruit better. And if Ollie's got to be the guy that fucks off a load of this deadwood, so be it. Let's just fucking be a bit patient. On a side note, if you are interested in coming and playing football with us, we are launching Stretford Paddock FC properly this weekend. There is a trial. There's over 100 people that have applied for the trial. We would like you to come down and trial for it as well. We're based in Manchester. We are going to be training out of Ardwick at Power League, and we are probably going to be playing somewhere pretty local as well. There's probably going to be 4 teams once we start this, because obviously 100 players, that's 4 25-man squads, isn't it? And we're hoping to continue recruitment all the way up until the summer, when we will enter those teams into competitive leagues. We are aiming to go into the football pyramid. That is where we are going. So Manchester United in the Premier League is Division 1. We are looking to go into either Division 10 or Division 11. So if you are interested in following our journey, then the videos are going to be on my channel. And if you're interested in joining in with our journey, we need admin help. We need volunteers that are going to help us on a match day. But most importantly, we need players. Because recruitment's important, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I've just been saying. So there's 100, there's a couple of people with academy experience. We are going to be having a first team. We will be having an under-21 team, which is our reserve team, which will hopefully start feeding into the first team. There will be a under-18s team, because we've had a significant number of under-18s that have applied. And we will also be having a Sunday League team. So if you're an absolute fucking wreckhead and just wants to do it for the social aspect, then that's the team for you. So we are going to be able to cater to all levels and all ages, providing you are 16 or over. If you're interested, I'll throw a link in the description. I will put the poster on screen here now. The trial is 9 a.m. on Saturday. If you're interested, the details will be below. You do need to register, because that just helps us with keeping track of everyone and getting everyone's contact details correctly, rather than writing them down on bits of paper on the day. So if you are interested, like I said, hit the link in the description and come and join us. As I've already said, we are aiming to go into the football pyramid. So if you think you can play, then come and get in the mix. If you think that you would like to just join up for our Sunday League team because you're up for a laugh and you want to play with some of the absolute fucking maniacs that we've got in here, then sign up for that as well. And if you come in, I will see you on Saturday. Laters.